You're listening to a bonus episode of the Apparelist podcast. We like to bring you monthly programming that covers topics that build a better business. And every once in a while, we throw a little extra content in there. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this special episode.
All right, Apparelist fans, are you ready for some bonus content this month? It's always a great surprise when we're presented with the opportunity to record an extra episode of the Apparelist podcast. And I got to tell you, this one is really getting me pumped up. But before we dive in, just a reminder to all of you listeners, we are wherever you listen to your content. We are directly on the apparelist.com website. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. You can find us pretty much everywhere. Joining me this month for this bonus episode is Luka Filipovic, CEO of Dynamic Mockups. I was first introduced to Luka and the Dynamic Mockups team at the Sol's POD conference in February of this year, and honestly, since then, they've been making some massive waves in the apparel decorating space, but I want to let Luka tell that story. So, welcome to the show.
Hey, Casey, thank you so much for the introduction. I mean, you kind of set the bar really high. And yeah, hello to all of the listeners.
No, I mean, come on, we're really excited. And I've had the chance to hear you speak, and now everybody else gets the chance. So let's kind of start at the beginning with you. Can you give me a little bit of a backstory on you? You know, what's been your career path? How did you find yourself in this industry?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, to be totally honest, I mean, personally, I was a designer. That's how how I started, how I entered this space, like, more than 15 years ago. So as a graphic designer, and ever since I always wanted to, whatever I create in the digital space, I wanted that to become real. So, even when choosing design, I wanted that to be graphic design, so something that can be made. And after that, even transitioning to web design and engineering, I wanted my prototypes to actually be clickable and real. So I was always going towards that. So naturally, in my career, in one moment, I even started a print-on-demand brand called PhotoGrid, which transitioned to a print-on-demand marketplace here in the Balkans. And it was always the same, something digital that becomes physical. That was always my passion. And throughout that journey, through PhotoGrid, throughout that marketplace, and a lot of sellers actually having all sorts of problems, that's where Dynamic Mockups stemmed from. So yeah, that's essentially how I got started. Now doing Dynamic Mockups with the whole team is something really cool. But essentially, I came in as a frustrated operator, where we spent more time, fighting with artwork, with visuals, than actually selling products.
Yeah, I feel like that's a pretty common challenge in the industry. And we're going to get to that because I really want to hear more on your perspective. But first, I do want to talk a little bit more about Dynamic Mockups. So when did that launch? And what's kind of been the original goal or continuing goal of what you guys do?
Yeah. So Dynamic Mockups actually stems quite some time ago, since PhotoGrid, and that's like almost 5 years now. I mean, that's something when the idea came from, and that's even before AI. I think maybe just the first ChatGPT came out. Definitely not all of these AI crazy image models, but yeah, that's when it started. Since then, we've been kind of in stealth mode. But when we first launched was 2 years ago.
Okay.
So that's when our official launch was. And in general, we like to say internally that we want to create a world where anything that you can imagine can become something real that people buy. And that kind of is much broader than apparel and POD in general, but essentially that's what we do. We want to be that bridge and that visual infrastructure, as we said, for e-commerce. and essentially that bridge between that digital and physical world. So yeah, that's how we like to think about it.
I do want to talk art with you, since that's kind of where you exist, and obviously you're passionate about it, and you mentioned this as a pain point. So let's address that elephant in the room, right? Why do you think art is still kind of one of the biggest pain points in the industry? Why does it continue to be kind of like this moment for decorators?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I mean, when talking about art, we have like two angles. One is the actual artwork, and then the actual visualizations. How do we visualize that cool idea that we had? And not only just how to visualize it, but we need to ensure how to visualize it truthfully, and but also make sure it's attractive, because it's essentially a selling tool. But yeah, why is that the biggest pain point? Essentially, it's the choke point, because every order that comes through, it needs to pass through some kind of artwork and preparation. Whether it's creating the actual artwork where we're gonna print on different kinds of products, or we're talking about the actual visuals that we're going to do in order to help us sell more, whether it's for social media, for our e-commerce store, or doesn't matter, even a lookbook. And there's a lot of things that needs to be taken into consideration. And it's not just like a simple checklist. In order to do all of that properly, you need a certain dose of skills and expertise, but also a certain dose of creativity as well. So it's a pretty tough thing to do. And it's really not something that you can easily automate. In the end, all of that artwork and visuals that we're going to create, it's going to end up in production. And we need to make sure that it lands exactly how we presented it. So again, from the very start in the print preparation, so the print files, but also the visuals and how we communicate our idea. It's really important to understand who are we targeting, who's our target niche. Is the visual actually resonating with them, which will help us with the overall conversion, or is just like a plain white t-shirt on a white background? So from our perspective, this is where we see the biggest effort being, I guess, used in this whole process. It's the most expensive step, if you think about it, but it's definitely one of the most important parts. If you just imagine, when we're buying things online, we're not buying physical products. We're buying images. You're buying just the belief that what you see is what you'll get. It's not a physical thing. So that's how important it is.
Okay, there's so much I want to unpack from this. So two things. First, I want to kind of start with what you just said, and then it sort of ties into something you said earlier, is that it becomes a selling point, right? But you don't actually, you can't hold the product, as you said, as when you're shopping online and doing the e-commerce thing. You just have to bank on the fact that what you're looking at is what you're going to receive, and we all know that's not always true. However, it sounds to me like a great mock-up is very influential in a buying decision. So would you say that sometimes apparel decorators and printers are underestimating the role that visualization plays when it comes to selling the products?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, when you just open, I don't know, Etsy, or you can skim over a bunch of stores, you can really see the pattern of people having the same visuals, and often not even great visuals, if I can say so. And I mean, that's totally okay. That's totally understandable, because, as I said previously, it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of money to actually do all of that properly. And up until recently, that was reserved only for the biggest brands that have the budget for it.
Hmm.
But now it is definitely possible to do all of that, and it has a huge impact. And it's one of those things that I don't think that people are underestimating good visuals and the impact that it can have on their sales. It's because they don't believe in it. I think it's one of those things that people are just used to, that it wasn't possible before.
Hmm.
And now it takes some time to really understand, okay, I can fully automate the whole process, but not automate it and still look kind of off, but it will be even better than it was before. From the data that we have over 45, so almost 50,000 businesses using dynamic mockups. And we see an increase in conversions up to 30%.
Wow.
And again, we can unpack this. I mean, it's not only about the visuals; it's also about the how many visuals do you have. You know, everybody knows that all of these marketplaces really push your products visibility. If you have, I don't know, more than 10 product images for every product, and you know, even by handling all of that and creating the visuals for all of the products, it's going to push your visibility. And that's just one aspect of it. And that's kind of the lowest hanging fruit. And then it's the ability to actually create unique visuals. You know, if we can grab our buyers' attention, then our click-through rates are going to skyrocket. If more people have their eyes on our products and they open our product page, I mean, it's just a funnel. The conversions are going to increase. And you know, even when you have a really professional visual for your product, um, people feel that, you know, kind of credibility. They see that you put in some effort into it, so naturally you can even the perceived value of your product becomes higher, you know, and you can even charge more. You can experiment more with pricing, and we all know that margins are a big topic in this industry. So
Hmm.
it's incredible how on so many fronts, good visuals can actually help you, until we get to that, you know, A/B testing and increasing the conversions. So yeah, I mean, the mock-up isn't marketing. Essentially, the mock-up is the product. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And it's incredible how people neglect all of those things, again, because they probably think it wasn't possible. But yeah, the customer never sees or touches your product before the physical product before buying. So yeah, the image is the product, and it's really important. And if we have a way that you can kind of get the most out of it, I think that's one of the easiest things anybody can do to you know, skyrocket their sales.
One of the things I keep hearing come up as you're, discussing this topic is sort of like this mindset shift, right? Is like
Mhm.
we can do better. It is changing. But another thing I keep, kind of hearing you talk about is there are tools now. Like
Yeah.
we are making progress here, and there's a lot of things that now make it easier for even smaller shops to create, design, whatever, better artwork, right? One of them being AI. It has made it easier for those within our industry to create artwork and kind of generate better artwork, but it's also making it easier for the end buyer to sort of create this art. And I send it in, I'm like, oh, this will look cool. And then the shop gets it and they're like, nah, it's not really like, you don't understand art, right? So let's find the middle ground. How can decorators also leverage AI tools, like what you guys provide, what other providers have, to maybe further streamline the process, kind of help correct artwork and just kind of
Mhm.
elevate what our industry does?
Yeah, I think you touched upon a really important topic, and it's kind of the essence of at least what we're trying to achieve here. Yes, AI is here, and everybody has this new really cool tool that can play around with. Unfortunately, off the shelf AI solutions are just not enough if we're talking about physical goods. And they directly impact all the problems that you mentioned. So yeah, I can generate a cool artwork, but will it be optimized for printing? And I mean, will it turn out good? I mean, maybe in some cases if you know what to tell it. So essentially, when we're talking about that new world where anything that you imagine can become something real that people buy, we essentially talk through about the end-to-end process. So not only the mock-ups, the visuals, but also the actual artwork. But soon we're gonna have a lot of cool releases, both for the artwork creation that is actually powered by AI, of course, but that is actually print-proofed in advance. So everything that you imagine can really become something real, and while ensuring that it can actually be manufactured and produced later on with the quality that you see. So from one end, yes, there's the artwork that's going to be automatically print-proofed, but also the visuals. And I mean, there's a lot of things to take into consideration from different kinds of printing techniques, from DTF, DTG, but also laser engraving, but also embroidery. So
Yeah.
those are all, Pandora's boxes when you try to open them. And people can, of course, use AI to do similar things, I guess, but they would have to, go step by step to ensure that everything is accurate. And what Dynamic Mockups is trying to do, yes, we're powering a lot of e-commerce businesses, but we're actually a specific AI tool specific for these use cases. So we have a lot of startups and a lot of businesses, a lot of platforms actually using Dynamic Mockups API in the background to build cool new tools and cool new products, just much easier than you would do when you would take any off the shelf AI solution. So yeah, we have a lot of credits for startups to help them kick things off. So yeah, that's essentially we want to be that bridge in between, that's really focused and for this industry.
I love it. Love it. Well, as we sort of round out this episode, I always like to ask our guests to do a little future thinking, kind of look into the crystal ball, if you will. So, how do you see the role of artwork continuing to evolve, and what does it kind of look like in the next few years?
So I think there's a really bright future for all of the creative industries, especially from the angle of enablement. Meaning, as we talked before, there's a certain amount of skill and expertise that needs to go into anything that we do, especially if we talk about art, and there's a big dose of creativity. And Dynamic Mockups wants to be in the intersection of all of those things and actually enable anyone to actually create something beautiful, but something that can be actually produced. And in that moment of enablement, we feel that artwork is going to be more personalized. Now, we know about personalization, but I'm talking about the next step where art actually transitions from being static to dynamic, based on some kind of intelligence and data that we have beforehand. What a niche cares about, what's trending currently, what's selling. So you can more easily target micro niches, and we have the artwork that adapts to the buyer, not one generic design for everyone. I'm talking about real dynamic artwork that adapts to different print areas, different sizes, to different how it looks like. I mean, if I'm selling wrapping paper with dog patterns, if I'm targeting different niches, maybe I want to switch different dog breeds when I'm targeting a certain certain niche, and I should be able to do that automatically and dynamically, while also ensuring all of those previously mentioned important things like print proofing, etc. So, and those will be the winners, whoever turns any idea for any audience into a manufacturable product instantly.
Yeah. Wow, I'm loving it. And since we're using the word dynamic, just a reminder to everybody, check out Dynamic Mockups, right? We'll be sure to provide some links in the show notes. Luka, where can people connect with you more and just, learn a little bit more about the company, art, all that good stuff?
Yeah, people can connect honestly on LinkedIn. That's where we're mostly active. We're gonna share a ton of new cool stuff, a ton of cool content, both on LinkedIn and other social media. We have a lot of cool new things in store, both through newsletters and everything. So all that intelligence data that we were talking about, we're gonna start sharing with the whole world, and hopefully that will help somebody, have a more advanced business.
Well, I'll be following along personally, so I can't wait to see what y'all have in store. Again, reminder to all of you listeners, you can find us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Check out the show notes for lots of details. Luka, thank you so much for joining us.
And Casey, thank you so much for inviting us.